Guys, for my Terminator reviews, I've created a playlist so you can go back and watch all of them after I'm all done. So without further ado, let's continue the fun with Terminator 2 Judgment Day. My CPU is a neural net processor, a learning computer. Terminator 2 Judgment Day stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, Edward Furlong, and is directed by James Cameron. Wow guys, where do I start with Terminator 2 Judgment Day? This movie was such a game changer. This is one of those tentpole event movies. I mean, I'm talking Dark Knight, Jurassic Park, Terminator 2. These movies are cultural phenomenons. And the reason for that is because they brought something new to the table, something that the audience had never seen before. Whether that be a performance that is so amazing that it just can't be ignored, such as The Joker, whatever it may be, these are films that definitely made a punch in the current landscape of cinema. If Terminator 1 is a steak, Terminator 2 is a steak with a baked potato, with a salad, with a dinner roll, with a dessert, and whatever else you need to fill you up. This movie is so big and so epic, and with a movie on that scale, if you don't have a good director, the movie is probably going to fall on its face. Thank God James Cameron came back and had so much heart and vision and was able to give us the gift that is Terminator 2. So Terminator 2 takes place 10 years after the events of the Terminator. Skynet has created bigger and better, well not necessarily bigger, but better Terminators in the form of the T-1000. And so the T-1000 is sent back to kill John Connor, to erase him from existence. So what does the Resistance do? The Resistance sends back a T-800 to combat the T-1000. And the one advantage that the T-800 had was it had the memories of the previous T-800. John Connor preloaded the T-800 with all his memories from his childhood, and the T-800 was able to use that to his advantage. First off, the story of Terminator 2 is so good, and it's about 2.5 hours long depending on which version you watch. But like the first one, there's not a dry spot. Every scene has a place within the movie. It is perfectly edited from start to finish. Also, the T-1000 was a game changer. Remember folks, this is pre-Jurassic Park, okay? Just a little bit about my history with Terminator 2. I remember going to see this in a packed theater. They had shut down all the other movies because this movie was just so damn big. I actually sat on the floor in the first row in front of my date. This movie had come out 7 years after the first Terminator, and there was so much buzz around it. People wanted to see another Terminator so bad. And not only did they give us another one, but they delivered in spades. So when you got that big freeway chase, and then we first see the T-1000 in liquid metal form, people were not ready for that. I mean, that was just some of the most eye-popping special effects ever seen. And it was all CGI, but at the time it looked so real, and still to this day it really holds up. It looks great. But the reason it all works is because James Cameron, it was just one of the tools in his tool bag. He used practical effects, he used CGI, he used whatever he could to make the scene work. He knew that he had this great technology, but he didn't overuse it. And a lot of times when the T-1000 is getting shot, when I first watched it, I could have swore it was all CGI. But then when you go back and watch it, you realize actually a lot of the scenes aren't CGI when he actually has the costume on, and you can tell that they just put these practical effects that look like metal bullet holes in his chest. The T-1000 was groundbreaking. It was a better version of the Terminator. It's kind of like when you see the smartphones, how they would get slimmer and sleeker and shinier, and the T-1000 is all those things, and he is much more deadly because he can pretty much make a knife out of his hand. He's versatile. He can use so many different things to dispose of his target. Also, Terminator 2 has a lot of heart in it. The scene where Sarah Connor is going to kill Miles Benedict Dyson, the guy who pretty much got this whole Skynet thing going unbeknownst to him. You can tell that her character is really dealing with this, in that she doesn't want to kill anybody. She knows that if she doesn't kill him, then horrible things are going to happen. Judgment Day is going to happen. And the relationship between the Terminator and John Connor, played by Edward Furlong, is just so great throughout the whole movie. And everybody can remember that scene at the end of the movie when the Terminator asks John Connor, "Why do you cry?" I'm going to tell you, it pulled on some heartstrings. It really did. And for a science fiction action movie to do that, that is just a sign of great writing and great directing. Guys, still to this day, Terminator 2 is arguably one of the greatest action movies ever. Even when I showed my kids this movie, they think Terminator 2 is probably the greatest action movie ever. It's like the perfect action movie. And it set the benchmark so high, and every director that directs action movies wants to make a Terminator 2. But to do that, you have to have a great story, great special effects, great directing, great acting, and the list goes on and on. And to have all those things at the same time is, some might say, a miracle. And guys, I know in my first review for Terminator, I said the original Terminator is my favorite. But you know what? Just talking about Terminator 2 gets me so excited, and I want to go watch the damn thing right now. It might be my favorite. I don't know. It's because they're just so different. The first one is more of a low budget, almost slasher movie, whereas the second one is just a balls to the wall action movie. So they're actually a lot different. So I blame you guys for getting me all befuzzled on this. Anyway, Terminator 2, as you guessed, is another trapped on an island. Guys, next up we got Terminator 3. I don't know. Guys, comment below on your experiences with Terminator 2. If you actually saw it in the theater when you were younger, or if you're not old enough, tell me about your first experience of seeing Terminator 2. And if you don't like Terminator 2, I'd really love to hear your reason for that. Anyway guys, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching, and Humdrum out.